That's it.
Done. You know, I'm going to beat the same drum I did with the other two guys. Looking back, 23-year average, still only 6.4%. And we want to do right, but we can't do right if we're not dealing in reality with that rate. And I see any projections of what it's going to be like in the next 5 years from you. You know, at least we had some projections from the other guys. I don't know what I need to adjust. I don't know what I need to do because there's no forward looking, there's no projections. I know that it's not perfect information, it never is, but I've got to have some guidance here, and I don't see any. To be honest with you, I'm disappointed. I want to do right, and I don't have any guidance. I need guidance from my actuary.
Well, in the valuation, with the assumptions that we have, we are using a smoothing technique, like Chad mentioned, with the assets. So we really haven't fully, you know, we had the 08 losses, and we're actually spreading them out over a 4-year period. So we're going to have one more year that has that big loss in there. So the unfunded actuarial accrued liability, because of the smoothing, is likely to increase by $1.1 million in the next 2 years. So that $14 million that I mentioned is going to go up about another 1.1 because of the smoothing technique. But outside of that, if all of our assumptions are met, then that unfunded actuarial accrued liability is going to slowly decrease for the next 30 years, because we're doing the mortgage payments on it to pay it down. And if all of our assumptions are met, then it's not going to increase each year. That's the whole idea, is the unfunded actuarial accrued liability goes up because we didn't meet our assumptions. As far as the investment return, a general rule of thumb is that if we change it from 8.5 to 8, let's say, the city's costs would go up about 5% of payroll. So 8.5 to 7.5, the city's costs would go up about 10% of payroll right now. So if you want to
But if we keep waiting to change it, I mean, that's a ton of money, no doubt about it. And the question of whether we have it or not, we know that's difficult, but I'm not sure that I'm dealing in reality here.
Well, like I said, if you want to look at, if you think we're going to long-term only going to make 7.5 instead of 8.5, well, then the reality is that the city should be putting in an extra 10% of payroll basically right now.
That's what I need to hear. That's staggering.
I got just one thing to say, because it's the only thing I can say. Understand our great frustration with the Actuarial Association. We have been paying what we've been told to pay, and every year, I mean, it's never made it. Every year there is a loss, and we go slipping deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's got to be more professional accountability or something on the actuarial's part. We've got to, I think there's a professional responsibility to tell us the assumptions are wrong. Did the board set the assumptions, or do you set the assumptions?
Well, the board sets the assumptions.
But
they get advice from their professionals.
Yeah, but the problem and our frustration with the actuaries is we've just inherited a huge debt that I don't think we just kind of year after year. Now, if you have a bad year, we all have bad years, but it looks like we've had 10 bad years. There's every year it marched forward. So understand our frustration.
Oh, I completely understand the frustration.
That's all I have.
Let me say, I think he said it up front, it's not his money. It is, we represent 56,000 people and a whole lot of businesses. It is our responsibility to make sure this thing is properly funded. It is not. It is busted. And it's going to get worse. We have been loyal to your fund and to your crew. It is the responsibility of them to turn and be loyal to this community. We can no longer continue the way we're going. We have got to make not just snippets worth of changes, we've got to make radical changes. And that's going to have to occur. And it's the responsibility of this council to do so. Because you cannot dig your way out of the way we're going. I'm sorry. You're not going to get 8% return. We're not getting 8%. I doubt you're going to get 4. It isn't going to happen. Anything else?
No.
If not, good night.